Hello and welcome to this video. My name's Liz and this is Guided by Angels, and I wanted to jump on today and talk a little bit about faith over fear, because fear controls us in so many ways on this twin flame journey as a twin flame, but also in life. It can hold us back and it can drive us crazy. And I wanted to speak a little bit about my experiences that I've just started going to Romania. So I went to Romania for 5 nights for my birthday. Got back on Wednesday and it was life-changing for me in so many ways. Now, I'm going to be talking about this in even more detail for members. So if you are a member of the channel or you'd like to become a member, you're going to have full access to a very in-depth video on this and talking about my experiences. I'm going to be showing you pictures and all kinds of things later today. But I really wanted to jump on for everyone and just let you know that we all go through fear. Why? Because we are a spiritual being having a human experience. That's why we come to earth. We come to earth to have a human experience. And our human side is built with an ego. The ego edges all of the goodness out. The ego operates through fear, or fear operates through the ego. It tries to hold us back from not only really being happy, but challenging ourselves, growing as a soul, becoming the person that God created us to be. And that person is filled with faith. And that faith comes from the higher self. And most importantly, it comes from love. And that's really who we are. That's the spiritual side of us walking on this earthly plane. We are source energy, liquid love. We are strong. You are a warrior of light, and you hold that light within you wherever you go. And yes, we go through challenges and we go through things that bring up our ego and fear, so we can learn how to handle that, to overcome it, rise above it, and face it every day, walking in faith, knowing that we are safe and loved and protected, and there really is something up there with a plan, watching over us and keeping us not only safe and protected, but keeping us on the path to exactly where we're truly meant to be. Whether you're thinking about this being in your own life with your twin flame journey, something you want to achieve, something you want to do, or just becoming your greatest version, that's where you are right now. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about my experiences and how my ego was challenged and what my faith brought in for me. And you may not be able to resonate with my exact experience, but you'll certainly be able to understand and recognize and resonate with the things that I talk about and the signs that we see in the way we're shown that we are strong. Now, it's not flying that is something I had to overcome. I've flown before. I've actually flown twice before on my own. Now, yes, I haven't been to far off places. I live in the UK, as you know, and I do, or I have, should I say, preferred to just, remain in my comfort zone a little bit and go to places in the UK. But I was always told by my angels that travel would be in my life later down the line. And the ego part of me said, oh no, you're okay where you are. But I knew that travel is something that was coming in for me. And the more that I've got to know you guys all over the world, the more I want to travel, to spend time with you and meet you and enjoy other parts of God's earth. He's created this amazing earth, and I don't want to just remain in one part of it. So it wasn't really the flying for me, because I've travelled to the Isle of Man on a plane, which is 45 minutes from me. It's not far. And I've travelled to Zurich, Switzerland, which was amazing. And I've travelled to Dublin as well, so 3 times before. But I haven't gone to a hot place. Well, I have. And this is the thing. This is the trauma that I've overcome, because I went to Crete and Greece as a child. And I say a child, I was around 8 or 9 years old. I think I was around 9. And I can't remember any of it. It was all blocked out. It's all blocked out. Maybe I was younger than that. I can't remember. But in my eyes, I'm this 9-year-old girl missing an experience, wanting to understand, sure that there's some trauma bond around that. So I'm pretty sure that when I went there, because I can't remember anything to do with it, and there's pictures of me there, so I know I definitely went there. I'm sure I went through some kind of traumatic experience there. Whether it was actually there or it was connected with something my family did there. Maybe my mum and dad were arguing, or maybe I was neglected there because I was left on my own, or anything could have really happened that created a trauma bond in me or a core wound in me that I've been struggling to overcome. So I've always been really afraid of traveling to a hot country, a far off place, but not even really a far off place, somewhere hot. So I know that it's something to do, perhaps, this is what, and I, it could even be a past life. I mean, I've pulled the past life cards for myself and found that I've had past lives in Greece. So it could even be connected with that, but I really do feel that it's connected with going there as a child and going through something traumatic that I can't remember. And yes, I could go down the route of regression, all of that, but I don't want to. I'd rather try and heal it myself. So when this trip came up to go to Romania, obviously I was excited, but I was absolutely petrified at the same time. Petrified of getting on the plane, petrified of the mosquitoes, petrified of different food, petrified of what it would be like. And even when people said to me, because in the UK here, for any of you who haven't been to the UK, if you do live somewhere perhaps like Greece or perhaps somewhere else, when it gets hot here, it becomes unmanageable. It's awful heat. When I went to Alton Towers not long ago, it was 27 degrees and there was sweat pouring down my face. That's how hot it is. It's like an uncomfortable heat, unbearable heat. And everyone would say it's totally different in another country because it's a different kind of heat. But until you experience it yourself, I suppose you don't know what to expect. And it absolutely was like that for me. And as soon as I got off the plane in Bucharest, I just felt amazing. And I loved the heat and the way it was. Completely different than here in the UK. If it was that hot here in the UK, we wouldn't be able to cope with it. We struggle if it gets to 30, and it was 40 in Bucharest. 40 degrees, I think it's 104 Fahrenheit. So yeah, it was very, 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 very hot. So completely different than anything I'm used to. I mean, today here in where I live, it's like 14 degrees. It's very dark, it's raining, and it's cold. So totally different going to somewhere really hot. So you can imagine the ego was getting a hold of me. And also, by the way, I've been afraid for years and years and years and years of going in a lift on my own, or what you may call an elevator on my own. And I've also overcome that this year too. And why? The year of the dragon, which is really powerful. The year of the dragon. And I actually asked for a sign, and a leaflet was posted through that I'm going to be sharing with members as well. And it said dragon on it, which is a huge sign of what we're all being pushed through this year. It's about overcoming your limits, your challenges. It's about becoming reborn, someone new. And even though we've all been working on that over the last 4 or 5 years, this is so different now. We're stepping into a new time. We're moving towards the golden age. There's something big going on here. So 2020 to 2024 with the pandemic and everything else has been really preparing us for where we are today. So my ego had taken hold. And don't get me wrong, I was receiving all the signs. I saw a dove. A dove is a sign of peace. I was being shown I was protected. But on the day of the flight, I was so afraid through my ego. And this is how ego comes in. I actually got on a train to go back home. And I'm going to be talking about this in detail. And when I was sitting on the train, there was a fly right next to me. A fly. And I went like that and thought, a fly. And then I got this sign, fly, fly. You're meant to fly, Liz. And I looked up at the train where it was saying things, said, don't get stuck on the train. Don't get stuck on the train. So I got off at the next stop. And I went into the waiting room and I sat down and said, angels, am I meant to go on this trip? I closed my eyes, breathed, and then I looked up at the wall, and the picture directly across from where I was sitting was a picture of this huge rainbow. And I just knew I was protected. And when I got on the plane with my best friend Sandra from World Illuminator 11, She held my hand all the way when we were taking off, by the way. She was my angel. I had such a huge response to the flight and the takeoff. I was sobbing, crying, releasing all of that fear and all of that trauma. And whatever I experienced, it was like my 9-year-old self or 8-year-old self, or however old I was sitting on that plane experiencing this trip for the first time. And I healed so many things during that trip. I even went in a lift on my own, an elevator, and had other amazing things. Even the room that we were staying in Bucharest was room 111. So the reason I'm doing this video, I don't want to go into lots of information because maybe you're thinking, well, I don't really care. Some of you will be thinking, wow, yeah, the signs are real. But I really wanted to jump on and just remind you, don't let the ego get hold of you, because we're either operating in love or fear. Love is faith-based. Fear is ego-based. Don't let your ego and your challenges and your struggles let you down or get you down. And I went through such a big healing. I'm going to be talking all about it in detail over with members. But when I got off the plane and came home on Wednesday, I looked up at the screens in the airport and there was one word on there and it said respect. And I knew that was heaven saying respect. Good job. You've done well. You've overcome your fears. You didn't get stuck on that train. You did fly and you did what you needed to do. And that's what we're guided to do every single day, to focus on faith, not fear. I hope this helps. Have a great day and I'll see you soon.